Hey, Lara Beth. Thank you so much for hopping on with us today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Woo. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself for our listeners who don't actually know who you are.
Okay, so I'm your cousin. Newsflash. Yay! I grew up in Florence, Alabama, and we kind of grew up on a little bit of kind of like a Walton family type thing. Like there was a couple apartments downstairs. There was a big house upstairs where grandmom and granddaddy lived. And so we all kind of helped out on the farm. It was like a large garden, and I think at one point we had guineas, and at one point we had a horse. And so I got real interested in the herbs because my mom grew a bunch of herbs and got into Nature Sunshine when I was a kid, and actually used some of the supplements from Nature Sunshine along with some lifestyle changes and some eating, like her nutrition. She changed how she made meals and stuff, and she helped herself get rid of some of this chronic muscle pain she'd been dealing with for a long time. And so that was my introduction to the supplement world, was because what we were already using outside was just in a much higher concentrated form in these little capsules and stuff. So.
Awesome. And how has that affected your career now? Because you do more than just dabble in Nature Sunshine, right?
That's right. So I actually have a bachelor's degree in complementary medicine and graduated magna cum laude. And I'm almost finished with my master's in public health with a concentration in functional nutrition. And that's kind of led me into a wellness coach position where I work with people. I see them, right now, because of everything going on with Corona, I'm working with people, pay what you can in sessions. So instead of the $45 for 30 minutes, they just pay whatever they can afford right now. And we sit down and we talk not only about supplements. A lot of times people need one or two things like some probiotics or something, but we're also talking about, like, what do you eat on a regular basis? What could you maybe be looking at instead and researching in terms of food? What do you do exercise wise? Is it working for you? Are you having problems with it? If somebody is under a lot of stress, certain types of exercise can actually exacerbate that. And I ran into that, when I was a 911 dispatcher. And so there's all kinds of, aromatherapy, there's all kinds of different things that I have studied in a traditional way through some of the traditional herbalists and stuff, but also through these degrees. And I kind of bring it all together for people who are, in need.
That's so cool. It sounds like a very well-rounded experience that a lot of times you don't get from going to a doctor necessarily or Googling stuff online.
Yeah, well, and a lot of what I do is not to replace a doctor. It is specifically supposed to be complementary. So you'll hear people talk about alternative medicine. And in a lot of situations, we really shouldn't be calling it alternative. We should be calling it complementary because it goes along with what you're doing at your doctor's office. It's just like the natural side of it. Mm-hmm. And working with somebody who's actually studied this and understands some of the pharmaceuticals and things can help you, because if you're on something, like if they have you on antidepressants, then there may be certain herbs like St. John's wort that you don't want to take. There may be other safer natural options that you can be taking alongside your medicines that won't interfere with the medication, and it'll make you feel even better. Because if you start taking stuff that interferes, it can become very dangerous. But a lot of the times it's just, it messes things up and you're just like, well, none of this is working. You don't want to do that.
That's cool. Wait, okay, back up. Nature Sunshine, right? Sorry, I got it.
Right. Sorry. I could talk about this all day.
So you got into it, right? Because our family was fairly holistic, right?
Fairly, yeah.
So at what point do you incorporate it in your business? Do you do the business portion of Nature Sunshine? Is there a business portion of Nature Sunshine?
So what I prefer with Nature Sunshine, I kind of joke that I don't work for Nature Sunshine. Nature Sunshine works for me. And this is because it is a very integral part of what I do with people. I suggest supplements based on what I feel like is going to be best for them based on my studies. But then I help other people who are looking to become wellness coaches to understand the Nature Sunshine line from a more scientific perspective, from a more holistic perspective, so that they know how to implement it for people. And when they get signed up, of course, that does help me some, but they're also, it's putting them in a situation where they can really get out and help other people. So that's the beauty of it. There's a lot of really good webinars that they do. One of my teachers, Stephen Horn, does a lot of webinars for them. It's an amazing company to work with. And I've just been really impressed with the education that they offer on top of the quality of supplements.
Okay, I love that they pair education with supplements. Because a lot of times, if you just go to the store and try to buy a supplement, like you don't necessarily know what you're doing with it or how all the ways that you can use it or someone that you can talk to about using it, etc. So that's really awesome that they offer
Yeah,
that.
well, and on top of that, a lot of the times the stuff that you're getting at the store may not be the highest quality. If you do some research into some of the big box stores and some of the supplements that they've sold over the last several years, there's a lot of research that suggests that some of the stuff you get from there isn't at all what you're paying for, or they'll have a lot of fillers in it. And tablets, a lot of the times, will use gluten as what holds it together because it's sticky. It holds it together. Whereas the Nature Sunshine products, they're not using these fillers and things that can make people feel worse. So there's a lot of benefits to it just from the angle of the quality and things of that nature. And then, of course, the culture is amazing. A lot of the times when you hear about people getting into that type of network marketing, it starts to feel like, oh, there's going to be a lot of pressure for me to sell. Like that's what you hear. Or you hear, well, I've got to go in debt to be able to make this work for me. Nature Sunshine doesn't even have a startup fee. You just have to order $40 worth of product at their initial cost, or at the lowest discounted cost. Yeah. Which is just like unheard of, right? A lot of the times there's like startup fees and stuff attached to certain groups. Well, they don't have that. And you're not expected to order every month. You order as you need product. Yeah. So instead of having to constantly worry about, oh, I've got to put all this on my credit card to keep my membership, I like it from that angle because there isn't, there's not going to always be, makeup and stuff like that, or certain, food products and stuff. Yeah, you're going to need that every month anyway. So like it makes sense for you to order it every month. But some of these supplements you don't have to have every month. And so for me to be having to push people to buy every month just doesn't seem ethical. And they're real careful about that. So I like that about them as well.
Awesome. So network marketing usually has some like bad negative energy that comes with it, which you kind of just attested to a little bit. Have you come across any of that in dealing with people?
I had one really bad experience, and I'm not going to name the company because I think it was a very specific person. And it was not Nature Sunshine. I had a bad experience when I was working with a group at one point. And the person was very pushy, very panicked about it. And of course, they no longer do this type of work.
Yeah.
I think what people need to consider when they're looking to get into something like the network marketing groups, they need to consider the fact that like if they're going to feel panicked, if they're going to feel pressured, then other people are going to feel that and they're not going to be as likely to want to stick with it. The thing that makes what we have so good is finding a high quality group to work with. So whether it's Nature Sunshine, Arbonne, somebody that you really trust, like finding that group and then learning to build a community out of it instead of worrying about whether or not you're going to, push yourself to the next level this week or that week. Not that goals aren't bad. Don't hear that, but hear that the panic and the frustration that you create for yourself when you're getting involved in these things is not the way to go. You've got to make sure that you're still doing it for the enjoyment, for the community. The community is what builds this kind of thing up anyway. And so when you're looking at getting into something like this, ask yourself, am I trying to get into a get rich quick scheme? Or am I looking to create a community around products that are high quality? And if you are looking to create a community around this, whatever it is, Arbonne, whatever, then you're going to find that you're going to have a very good time of it. And there's going to be a lot of positive things come out of it, not just from a financial standpoint, which will come, but also just having that community and having that connection with people.
I love that. That was very well said.
Yeah.
So do you have any favorite products you like from Nature's Sunshine that you use fairly regularly?
Oh no, I have so many things. Where do I even start? Okay. So I love the essential oil line. I know that a lot of people use, oh, it's backwards, but I know a lot of people use different essential oils from different companies, and I haven't run across any, like if you use doTERRA, they're pretty good. Young Living is pretty good, but I think the education that's coming from Nature's Sunshine on essential oils is much higher quality.
Mm.
And with my degrees, I can say that. And I really love the blends that they have. So this is the Paradise blend. And as you saw, I literally didn't have to get up. Like it's literally right beside me. And it's because this is a blend that I use on a regular basis.
Nice.
There's also carrier oil. It's not quite within arm's reach, but like I can see it from where I'm sitting. I had issues. Christian can attest to this. I had horrible like eczema when I was a kid, all up and down my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And they did everything to try to get rid of it. And what finally worked is stuff like the carrier oil. And if you guys go to the Facebook page, Natural Wellness Transformations, or you go to my Instagram, which is Natural Wellness Transformation with no S, you will see where I had I had psoriasis pop up about a month and a half ago on my wrist. And I had just kept carrier oil on it, and not that you can see it real well, but I mean, like you can see it's gone.
Yeah, it looks way better. I saw the before picture.
Yeah. So that before picture was when I was like, no, we're not doing this. So for me, I really like the essential oil line, the carrier oil and things of that nature. We also have, of course, with everything that's going on with the foods concerns, we have like a superfood instant beverage mix that's called Nature's Harvest, and I have a couple of bags of that.
Why am I
It's a
immediately skeptical of like superfood drinks?
I know, I hate that they call it superfood, but what it is it's powdered greens and other antioxidants. So we have Ultimate Green Zone, which is just your powdered greens, but then the reason they call it superfoods is because it's the greens and the antioxidants mixed in together. And it actually, here's what I like about it. Almost any other beverage mix I've come up with, you have to do it in some form of like almond milk or something.
Mm-hmm.
This Nature's Harvest can be put in just water. So yeah, I know. So you don't have to have like a creamy base to it for it to be good. Which
And
again,
it's
a lot of
good.
them, yeah, it's actually just good. Yeah. And then of course, we've got like a multivitamin, but honestly, if you guys are thinking that you may need a multivitamin, I would encourage you to come have a consult. I know I'm not supposed to be talking too much of it,
No,
but
that's great.
come have a consult with me first, because a lot of the times we need to just eat better. And then there may be one or two supplements that can help our digestive system absorb things better. And that's where we need to go more than we do spending a lot of money on a multivitamin every month.
I love this holistic approach that you have and promote. Like, I am not a doctor person, so I don't like having to go in.
You get that from the family, by the way.
Yeah, I
That's
know. None of
totally
us like going.
like that time Granddaddy had a stroke and he sent everybody on to church instead. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, Granddaddy was having a stroke and he sent we were already gone, I think, but he sent everybody on to church, and then they came back and took him to the hospital afterwards. Y'all, that's not safe. Please don't do that. But yes, crazy stuff happens in our family because they believe that doctors should be a last resort. But some of that good part has trickled down to our generation.
Yeah. So, I mean, not to bash doctors, but
no, definitely not bashing doctors.
Great.
Like I said, don't do what Granddaddy did.
But I do appreciate that you have like a holistic initial approach that I think is useful, because I feel like, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but if we kind of get our bodies in order, then a lot of our problems just kind of naturally go away if we're consistent.
So one of the biggest things is getting your body in balance. If you are doing what you're supposed to do, just your basic stuff, then you're not going to have the need to take a lot of extra supplements. You're not going to have the need to use a lot of extraneous stuff. Yes, you're always going to have certain things that you're going to need from the angle of like maintenance.
Yeah.
And depending on your constitution, depending on what your body naturally needs, you may need more or less of certain things for your maintenance. But most people don't need a whole lot of stuff. It's just a matter of eating the way that you should eat. And that's why we were able to avoid the doctor so much as kids, is because we had all this stuff from the farm and we just ate what we had to have there. And we did, thank goodness, go to the doctor when we needed to. But because again, some of the wisdom trickled down, but we weren't obsessed with it. But at the same time, like, we didn't have to go very often because we were getting a lot of the nutrition that we needed. We had a safe, relatively calm, environment to be in. And we had people around us who were relatively healthy, and that made a big difference. And so if you find yourself getting into adulthood and going, man, I really wish I had how I felt when I was a kid, or I see other people who felt great or feel great and I don't know how to get that. A lot of the times it's a matter of this holistic approach of, getting your body back in balance, getting the right kind of sleep that you need, getting to that point where, you may have to have some supplementation to start with, but you'll eventually come off of it and only have 2 or 3 things you need every month.
Do your coachings also offer some sort of like accountability? Like, do you check in with people too as well?
So what I try to do is once every 8 to 12 weeks, so 2 to 3 months, depending on what a person's got going on, they'll come back for another session.
Okay.
So we, and of course, everybody stays in touch with me in between anyway. Like, we're always talking either on text or, but as far as like trying to change things up and trying to determine whatever we need to do next, a lot of the times we're looking at that 8 to 12 weeks out. And that's very personalized based on what somebody needs.
I feel like your coaching business in a lot of ways is like network marketing. Like, you have a network of people that you kind of take care of and that support you in your business. So
a lot of people that get into Nature Sunshine get into a very similar approach. 2 of my mentors had done this kind of thing where they worked in consults. Now, they were very specific herbal consults. Whereas when people come and work with me and train with me, then I tend to train them as a more holistic approach. Okay. When they're looking for that kind of support anyway. But you can get into something like this and just do the herbal consults. And that works really well for people. So it kind of becomes like, skincare consultants or whatever, like, you're just focused on the one product line and it works really well and people get somewhere with it. It's not something to say, oh, you have to have this, you have to have 7 years of experience and degrees. And if you're not working on your PhD, this isn't going to work. Because I'm working on my PhD, but that's not the importance here. The importance here is that you can utilize stuff like this. And it is kind of a network. It does kind of become a network marketing, no matter what level you're doing it on.
Do you have any advice for people who are either interested in network marketing things? So either, maybe hopping on something like Nature's Sunshine, or doing consultations like you do. What do you suggest for them?
I suggest that you play around with stuff for yourself first. You and I kind of had a head start on that as kids because, again, we were kind of around a lot of that. But I do think that it's important for you to know the product a little bit, understand a little bit. So when I say know the product, I don't just necessarily mean Arbonne or Nature's Sunshine or whatever. But like, if you're interested in being an herbalist, then you need to kind of play with different herbs. I have different classes that I recommend for people. There's a lot of free stuff on the internet, but I do encourage you to just kind of be wary of some of the free stuff because a lot of this stuff is he said, she said. There is currently an elderberry discussion that's going around that elderberry makes COVID-19 worse. Like this thing about elderberry can create cytokine storms and blah, blah, blah. And it's something that kind of got started by some people who didn't understand some research that was done. There is no clinical evidence that elderberry creates cytokine storms. There's no clinical evidence that elderberry does anything except for modulate immunity, not force it into overdrive. And so you have to kind of be aware that like you'll see stuff like that for free online all the time. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's reality. It may be people hypothesizing more than they should. So that's why I encourage you to look into classes. I teach classes. I've got one right now that's $15 if anybody wants in. It will probably be $15 for a couple more weeks. At that point, I may, be putting it back at its normal $300 price range. Or if you're wanting to do like a really hardcore, like let's go for a year and you work with me once a month and you're going through everything that you could possibly think of. I do have a program that's $5,000 where, and that's all it is for the entire year, which is a steal.
Yeah, that's actually really good especially for like private coaching.
Yeah.
Who already does this for a living. Like that's kind of amazing actually.
Yeah, it was one of these things where because of everything everybody's dealing with, instead of the normal 15,000, I said, I'm going to make it 5,000, where if somebody is really just like, I have to have a career change, this has to happen, you can do it. You get modules that drop every 2 weeks during the first 8 months, I think it is. And then after, and of course, while you're doing that, we work together once a month and kind of just see like what questions you have coming up. What are you dealing with? We're shaping your business. We're shaping your entire practice. And you're determining like, are you going to go with things like Nature Sunshine? Are you going to get into wild foraging and going out and picking the dandelions out of your yard and doing it that way? Things like that, where you're playing with it and really getting into it before you just totally commit one way or the other.
That sounds really exciting, actually.
It is. It's a lot of fun. So that's the beauty of this kind of thing, though, is like when you get into network marketing, you don't have to, you don't have to be only obsessed with one product. You can take that and you can work with it and you can run with it and do all kinds of cool things. The Arbonne stuff, there's all kinds of awesome stuff that you guys do. So there's, when you get into this, it becomes your life, but it doesn't hem you in, I guess. Like, I feel like there's just, the more that I do, the more I'm like, wow, there's all these other things I could be doing with it. You're not stuck doing one thing. It's not one formula and you're stuck saying the same words day in and day out. There's real connection. And that's where the success comes from, is the connection and the willingness to really work and understand more and more about the lifestyle that you're choosing to live.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
So if people want to get in touch with you about maybe doing your classes or coachings, how do you want them to get in touch with you?
So my phone number is on the website. It's 205-650-9292. That's 650-9292. You can text or call anytime. If I'm asleep, the phone's on silent anyway, so I'm not going to know. If you're interested in looking at the website, it's naturalwellnesstransformations.com. If you're interested in consultations, you click on consultation. If you want to listen to the podcast, Christian and I got off on some cool stuff last week. You can click on podcast. You can click on online learning to learn more about the different classes that I teach, but I encourage you to reach out to me, because a lot of the online learning, all you can see is the curriculum for the different courses. It's not necessarily discussing more of what we do one-on-one when you're in those classes.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's nice to get personalized ideas anyways. Like if I reach out to you, we can chit chat and you can actually tell me what is the best fit for me instead of me having to sit and dig through everything. So,
I mean, and a lot of these companies, with Nature Sunshine, we've got 400 products. Like, I don't want you playing around with that. Yeah. I don't want you'd spend thousands of dollars before you fit. I'd rather you come work with me first and understand exactly what it is that you need, versus going out and just going, ooh, this one sounds cool. Ooh, this one sounds cool. Ooh, this one,
Yeah. All right. Well, all right, everyone, get in touch with her. She's awesome and obviously knows what she's doing and talking about. So hopefully you guys will reach out to her. All right. Thank you. And we'll be in touch.